Man, I gotta say, real quick, I'm not that big of a fan of his remake. I just think it's sort of unnecessary. I think it does things that work and things that I like, but remaking the original film is sort of like a fool's errand. And I heard that this movie was awful, and I sat down and watched it. I didn't see it in the theater because of how I felt about the remake. And then I watched it at home. My roommate walked in and he's like, "Oh, you just finished that piece of shit?" And I turned to him and I was like, "That's like the best Halloween movie I've seen in so long." Like, I immediately fell in love. Like, I was like, this is amazing, especially from how I felt about his remake. Like, total 180. So, man, hats off.
It's like toxic fandom existed in the Halloween franchise, I think, before any other. Well, I'll be fair. I'm sure Star Wars had it too, but I mean, we're talking 2009. Yeah. And I remember after I watched Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I kind of didn't want to tell anybody that I liked it, because
you had to come out of that closet, Lee. I got to come out of the Halloween 2 closet.
I had to come out of the closet because everybody was just blasting the shit out of this movie, which I expected. And I happen to be the Halloween fan that likes a little bit of the bizarre and the weird. And when they take Myers and twist him up and do weird things with him, most people don't like that stuff. I love that stuff. That's why I love this franchise so much, because it just goes balls out with some of the choices that it makes. But also, I like the sibling angle. And I think Rob Zombie really likes, I think that's what gravitated him towards the franchise, was because he wanted to focus on this trauma, but also this family dynamic that you have with especially Laurie and Michael. And I think just having them be siblings makes it work that much better. And I think the only comparison between this and the original Halloween 2, besides the opening hospital sequence, is that Laurie finds out in both movies that Myers is her brother. And I didn't even realize that until I threw the director's cut back in today. And the scene where she's talking to, I think, Bree Grant and the other girl. And she's like, I just found out he's my brother. Nick, how do you feel about the sibling angle? Or do you care? Do you want Michael to be just a force of nature and not have a sibling?
You know what's interesting about that? When the first movie got announced, and we knew the bones of it, that this was just going to be a sequel to the first one, write everything else out, no familial connection. I remember being like, thank God, thank God we're not going to have that anchor around our ankles. And then after that trilogy was done, I was like, I kind of prefer the sibling angle. Like, I don't know. I feel like part of me just wanted to see it without the sibling and go, because I was excited about something new, a new take on it. And then having seen it, it's like, as much as I love Halloween Ends, guys, if you've never seen me before, okay, Lee and I have a lot of similar opinions on this franchise. I like the weird too. And I'm telling you right now, I just feel like after that trilogy, I was like, it was cool to see something different, but I think I prefer the sibling. I don't know. Cause there's moments in 2018 and where you're just kind of like, but he's here like by happenstance. Like it always comes back to Laurie. Yeah. So it's like, I prefer the familial connection. In fairness, this series never really addressed it all that well, except H2O they did. But H2, I'm thankful that they really, really did. This was the first time we really got to see that it play out. You saw some of it in Halloween 5 with Jamie and Michael and that familial connection. Another weird one. I love y'all. But I think I prefer it now.
I had to highlight that comment, Jamie Hart. I love the weird, because I think that might be, if I had to bundle up the 10 different reasons I love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 so much, I think you can condense it all into, it's weird. It's almost like how can I piss off the audience? What can I do? Like, they want this, I'm going to give them that. They want to go up, I want to go down. And sometimes you can get, like, I'm half and half with Rob Zombie. I don't adore every single one of his movies, but when he gets it right, I think he really gets it right. And I think, coming back to what Davey was saying earlier, it's the characters. Rob Zombie always has these familiar actors that come in and you can't help but just love them. Like, I'm such a Jeff Daniel Phillips fanatic. Like, there's something about that guy. I want to hang out with him so bad. I want to just sit and shut up and listen to him talk. He's just, and we get 2 of him in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. You know, he's in the band at the end, and then he's also the bouncer. And you know, some of the lines, you know, can't afford the new tits. Can you loan me some bones? And you know, this is stuff that you would only hear in a Rob Zombie movie, you know? So most of the time in a Halloween movie, you kind of focus on a couple of major things. You're usually not focusing on the bouncer in the club that has this weird fist pump right before he takes out the trash.
Beautiful.
Know?
He has my favorite line in the movie. Yeah. When he looks at Michael and says, "Hey man, don't give me no reason."
Don't give me no reason.
Like, that's the best. I'm like, oh my God. And he calls Michael a dirty fucking hippie or whatever. I'm like, well, that's great, because the people that hate this movie say the same thing. So the movie already said it.
Yeah,
so you're gonna go around and call him Hobo Myers. Guess what? They know.
Yes.
You know, so...
hit the bricks, Dorothy. Yes, hit the bricks, Dorothy. It's just, oh man. But even if you don't know that's Michael Myers, that dude is huge. Why are you talking that way to that guy? Like, he's massive. I would never, but hey, Jeff Daniel Phillips, man, give him his flowers. He's also great. It's my least favorite Rob Zombie movie, 31. But I will say Jeff Daniel Phillips is great in that movie. I love this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's great in, like, a bad movie. You still love Jeff Daniel Phillips. He's just very charismatic, I guess. I don't know. You know what? I want to back up, because I meant to ask you guys this. I want to hear about when you first saw this movie, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, before you went into it, what your expectations were. Because we already knew about the previous movie, which I'll say right now, getting this out of there, I'm not a fan of Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's fine, but it's like bottom 3 of my ranking every time. I try and I try and I try, and it feels like half of it is trying to be a remake, and the other half of it is telling the story of young Michael that I don't find that interesting. So I thought for sure when I went into this movie that it was going to be more of the same, although I was intrigued because of the trailer. And this is a chance for Rob Zombie to give his own distinct vision. And I think he really knocked it out of the park. But I'll tell you know what, I'm going to go with Nick first. Tell me the first time you saw this movie. I want to know that experience.
Well, I was 15, and you guys remember Yahoo Movies. You go to the movie section on Yahoo, and that's where if a new trailer had dropped, you could see it on the homepage, and you'd click it. I remember coming home from school every day and getting on our computer and seeing if anything had dropped about Halloween 2. Like, I was so excited for it. And I can still remember the first teaser that was like 40 seconds that they released. It was like a video of like The Mask, that because the alternate poster that said H2, it was a video of that like artwork, and it was just like a slowed version of the piano. It would just do the like dun, dun, and then it'd be like, and it was so cool. Like, I just thought, oh man, I'm getting so hype. And I remember when the trailer came out, I was seeing TV spots for it everywhere. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is awesome. I can't wait to see this movie. Went and saw it with my buddies opening night. And from day one, I was in love with this movie, and I saw Rob Zombie's Halloween in theaters as well. And that movie blew me away when I saw it at 13. I thought it was like the shit. And then now I'm very much like, I'm like you guys. I think the only movie in the series it beats out for me is Resurrection when it comes to my ranking. I just find the first half laborious. I'm not, again, it's like doing the not brother and sister thing. Cool. Like, let's see it. And then you see it and you're like, yeah, I don't prefer that route. So, but the second half is a really fun, fast paced remake. It's fun. Like I have a good time with it. So yeah, but this one, it was from day one, man. Day one, I was in love with it. And I knew it wasn't going over well in the theater. There were people laughing at stuff that they shouldn't have been laughing at. I knew, like, I was sitting in the theater, like, I feel like so out of place, because like I am eating this up. And I don't think other people are. And then we got in the car. I was with my buddies, Tommy, Chris, and Steven, and none of them liked it. I mean, none of them liked it. And I was like, Oh, damn. That's crazy. Yeah, I think it's like my favorite one. So wild.
I love that.
And then, and then it's just over time, I've started to, I've gotten to a point where I don't think I can love it even more, any more than I do. But it's interesting, isn't it, to see the revisionist history now by some. Like, you know what? I like this movie. This movie's pretty good. It didn't get its due back then. I'm like, yeah, I remember when y'all did that with Halloween 3, and I can't wait till 15 years from now when you're all doing it with Halloween Ends. So yeah, just saying.
It is. So what's kind of crazy, just to really quickly hit on Halloween 3, is, you know, that came out in an era where it was like really difficult to see that movie once it came out and flopped. You know, it would show up on TV when I was a kid, and I would watch the Halloween movies on like USA Network in the early 90s. It would pop on and you just had no frame of reference. So it's not even like you thought it was a bad movie. You were just like, what the hell is this? And I would bail. I mean, I was like 8 or 9. So like, give me a break.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
But the first, and then it was like, it was really difficult to find a print of it. The very first time I sat down and watched Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was like 07. This is like, I'm watching the Angry Video Game Nerd on YouTube. And then I downloaded, like on some site, I had to download a copy of it, watched it and thought it was great, but it was the first time I ever really gave it a chance. And I do think that what's really cool about people being like, oh, it didn't get its due, is what it really means is that people are listening and they're open-minded. So when they watch, you know, they watch one of your guys' videos, you know, maybe they agree with you on like 80% of the stuff and they're like, what the hell is this Halloween 2 nonsense? But then they actually watch it. And I think what's really cool is film fans and just fans of art is, you know, you have a great discussion and you explain why you like something or why something works or doesn't work for you. The next time that person watches the movie or experiences that piece of art, they can sort of help that like inform their opinion. Maybe you're like saying something that's like opening something, like the way that we talk about literature in English class and we examine it, and maybe you're just saying something that makes them see like, oh, that's what they're saying. Like when everyone reads a poem, we don't understand everything the same exact way. And when you watch a film, it's sort of like, it kind of helps to have a buddy be like, well, I actually sort of liked it, and this is why. And that's certainly been the case for me with a lot of movies in my life, where I'm a rewatcher. So maybe the second or third time I like them more. Or like something like Donnie Darko, I like it even less the more I watch it. So it all just depends.
Some of the best comments.
Oh, go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say some of the best comments I've ever gotten as a YouTuber. It's on my Halloween 2 stuff. And people are like, dude, you made me give this movie another chance. I did a breakdown last year, like a video essay on it. It was like 30 minutes long. I put a lot of like time into it. It blew up. Like for me at the time, it was well over 10,000 views. Like I was like, oh, this is cool. Like this is awesome. And so many comments of people like, I never viewed it from this lens. I didn't understand this about it. I wasn't able to separate. Again, with this movie, I think a lot of people went into it the first time expecting something, didn't get what they expected, and they turned away from it. And then maybe didn't watch it for 10 years. And now that they know what to expect, they go in and like, you know what? I actually kind of dig that. Like, I'm a fan of that. So yeah, those are the best comments. And I'm sure you guys agree. If you've ever lauded something, talked about something you just love on your channel or on social media, and someone replies and goes, dude, I see this totally differently now. And it's because of you. That is so cool. Like so cool.
The reason they do that, Nick, is because they see how passionate you are. When you're talking about any movie, when they see that, oh my God, this guy's like, he's just really going hard in the paint on this aspect of this movie and why it resonates with him, I think that makes people curious to go back. I mean, it happens to me. I get curious sometimes when I might watch one of you guys, and I'm like, man, am I missing something here? Because this movie didn't strike that chord like it struck this guy or this girl. And so I love that. I love that about movies. And I think in this day and age, I think so many people don't realize that it's all art. And we are all wired differently. You know, we're not the same. And I think art, it affects people differently. And I had this guy write this comment to me today, and he was like, I don't like you. I don't trust you anymore because you changed your mind on this movie. And it sounds silly, doesn't it, when I say it? But that's literally what he said. He was
You're a flip-flopper, Lee.
Yeah, I flip-flopped. I changed my mind on this, and I'm
on
like,
art.
I guarantee you, even if you don't change your mind, I guarantee you the second time you watch any movie, you will notice something, one thing, maybe two things, a little different than the first. And you might have the same opinion. Your opinion might not change, but I guarantee you, when you watch it the second time, you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't really like that the first time. That's what movies do to me. And sometimes I'm like looking for something to get invested in. And it just happens to be Halloween being my favorite franchise. And you're shocked that my second viewing, I might change my mind a little bit. You know, I'm an emotional movie watcher. I don't know about you guys. I'm guessing you are too. Some people, movies are just like, you know, going to the store and buying a 12-pack of Diet Coke, you know, they're just rinse and repeat, in and out, they're done. And then for some people, movies are your life, and they really are. And that's why I'm here doing what I'm doing now, because movies just mean so much to me. Even the bad ones, I love discussing them. Right?
No, dude, I mean, unashamed to admit that I unashamed to admit that I teared up in the theater at the end of Halloween Ends when they were doing the shot of the mask, and as soon as those first notes for Don't Fear the Reaper came up, I welled up. I was sitting there like, holy shit, dude, like that was such a good touch. And and there's certain movies that it's a lot, it takes a lot out of me to watch them because they get to me like that, so I very rarely watch them. And one of those is, believe it or not, No Time to Die, because that was my James Bond. Daniel Craig was my Bond. So like I saw that in theaters, and that ending wrecked me. And then it came out on 4K. I watched it again. Still, same thing, wrecked me. And I was like, I'm not ready to say goodbye to that era. Like I didn't want to say goodbye. And so, yeah.
What's up, guys? You are at the end of the DD Live clip. What I do is I like to clip these out if I think the topic is important or something that's newsworthy. So thank you for watching. And if you want to watch more, you can go over here. You can go over here, click on one of those. And hopefully I can do this for 20 seconds, which I think I did. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching, guys.